Planet Dolan.
From building a colossal pyramid over Tokyo Harbour to covering Manhattan with a giant dome, we count 10 shocking construction projects that almost happened. Hey there guys, I'm Denji Dolan's mysterious brother. I'm here to blow your mind with academic research, insight, and other dark magic.
Number 10.
Dubai's the world. Dubai is the capital of weird building projects, and this project, known as the World, looked set to be one for the ages. That was until a shift in the economy caused plans to fall through. The concept behind the World was to create a set of islands shaped like Earth's continents off the coast of Dubai. These islands would then be sold off and lived on, presumably so megalomaniac rich folk could roleplay ruling the world or something. Construction of the islands was completed, but the associated structures were left unfinished. The project has now stalled out for so long that the islands are starting to erode into the sea. It seems that the world, like the real world that it's based on, is slowly going to shit.
Number 9.
Vertical farming. Vertical farming is a sci-fi inspired solution to the very real problem that we might one day run out of fertile farming land. The idea is that we grow crops in purpose-built skyscrapers, utilizing all that wasted vertical space. Vertical farming offers floor after floor of farmable land and a controllable climate that could be used to grow seasonal crops all year round. The Dragonfly is one such proposed vertical farm that is shaped like a dragonfly wing and situated in the middle of New York City. Unfortunately, the technology required for sustainable large-scale vertical farming hasn't caught up with our aspirations yet, so this project remains a bit of a pipe dream.
Number 8.
Shimizu Megacity Pyramid. The Megacity Pyramid is a Japanese architect's proposed solution to Tokyo Harbour's overpopulation. It's basically a giant floating pyramid that could easily house over 1 million people and fit 100-story skyscrapers inside it. The pyramid is planned to be made up of 5 trusses stacked on top of one another, each one roughly the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. If built, it would be the largest structure on the planet. Of course, the size is so great that none of the construction materials we currently use could withstand its immense weight. Even if one truss failed, nearly 1 million people would be crushed or drowned. There's also the obvious risk that something this size would attract Godzilla attacks. So for now, this will have to remain something that you see in anime.
Number 7.
Sutyagin House. In 1992, Nikolai Sutyagin grew tired of his home in Arkhangelsk, Russia, so decided to make some expansions. He added an extra floor, and then another, and then another, until before he knew it, he had the world's tallest wooden house. At its peak, the eccentric Russian's home was 13 stories and 45 meters high. Nikolai was never satisfied and wanted to add more and more. That is, until he went to prison. When he got out, he no longer had the funds to support the construction, so the house rotted and broke down around him. Arkhangelsk City Council deemed it a fire hazard and eventually forced Nikolai to dismantle his wooden castle. All that remains now is the regular-sized original home, a few pictures, and some salty, salty tears.
Number 6.
Project Chariot. Project Chariot was a misguided construction project aimed at widening the Panama Canal and digging a harbour in Alaska. This would be accomplished by US forces dropping nukes. This proposal came shortly after H-bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, amidst all that pesky bad publicity. The US was looking for a way to prove that atomic weaponry could be used for peaceful, productive purposes. Fortunately, this project never eventuated because of people living in Point Hope, a village 50 kilometers from the proposed bombing site. They'd heard of a little thing called radiation poisoning and refused to buy into the government's lies that no harm would come to them. They staged a massive protest, which ultimately led to the project being canned and moved to the Nevada desert.
Number 5.
Paris's Road Tower. In 1937, a 700-meter tall barber pole-style tower was proposed to be installed in Paris. The top of the tower would be a hotel, which people could reach by driving up a road that spiraled around the tower. There was also going to be a 400-car capacity parking garage on top, a restaurant in the middle, and a monorail system that would slowly lower cars to the ground. Fortunately, this insane accident magnet was never completed.
Number 4.
The Manhattan Dome. Domed cities were a staple of science fiction in the 60s, so it's not surprising that Buckminster Fuller, an architect from the time, proposed doming one of the most famous cities in the world, New York. The dome would cover most of Manhattan and filter pollution out of the air. It would also be kept at a constant temperature, meaning there'd be no need for heating in the winter or cooling in the summer. Unfortunately, no one really went for the idea. The cost to implement it would have been astronomical, and since no one knew if it would really work, it seemed safer to leave dome cities in the realm of science fiction.
Number 3.
Burj Khalifa fabric wrap. This project is by far the least practical. Effectively, the idea is to put a giant fabric condom over the world's tallest building, Dubai's Burj Khalifa. The project would require an enormous sheet that would have to withstand exposure to harsh elements and strain, so your better would cost a lot. What function would it serve? Well, none. This is basically just a really expensive, really ambitious art installation. The lead designer said the project aims to create a fluid urban experience and explore creative potential in the public realm. Whatever the hell that means.
Number 2.
Plan Voisin. In the 1920s, architect Le Corbusier wanted to completely level Paris, the most romantic city in the world, so he could rebuild it in a very different way. The plan was called Plan Voisin and involved erecting 18 enormous glass towers. The towers would make up Paris's business district and would be connected by subway stations and surrounded by an extensive garden city. Back then, the idea of bulldozing Paris wasn't all that unthinkable, as the city had become dirty and decrepit.
Number 1.
Freedom Ship. The Freedom Ship was a huge ship which doubled as a self-sufficient city. First proposed in the 90s, when stupid shit seemed like a good idea, the 25-story ship was to travel the globe every 2 years, stopping at all major ports and having residents disembark by helicopter. The ship would have a 50,000 person capacity and self-sustaining economy with jobs, schools, shops, and probably a really good strip club, everything a city needs. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because very few people were willing to permanently relocate onto a ship, especially when there were concerns it could be the next Titanic. Even if all those landlubbers changed their minds, it would still cost $10 billion to get the ambitious project off the ground.
That's it for this countdown. And have a good one!